They were accused of plotting to kidnap the president and overthrow the government. After 3 years of trial, today 6 of the accused, including serving military officers, have been convicted and sentenced to death by hanging. Senior police officer Dr. ACP Dr. Agojo and other 2 of the accused were acquitted and discharged by the court on Wednesday. Attorney General Godfrey Yeboah-Dame admits there were defects in the case against ACP Agojo. Now let's track this case from the time it began and where we are today. We do know that we have the alleged coup plotters. The charge against them was conspiracy to commit high treason. Now these are the persons who were charged with that. Now Dr. Mark Palm, he is deceased. We have Donya Kafui, Bright, Alan, Deborah Ofosu. We have Johannes Zikpi, Esther Zan Di Kowine, Colonel Seydou Abubakar. We have Lance Corporal Ali Solomon and Corporal Sylvester Akanpenwan. So these are some of the people who this charge was brought up against. Let's continue to share with you much more on this particular case. Now, we do know that we also have Colonel Samuel Kojo Gameli and then ACP Dr. Benjamin Agojo. So these 2 were charged with abetment of the crime. So the crime was for them to plot coup, but these 2, ACP Agojo and his other counterpart, were charged with abetment. Now let's look at the alleged coup plotters and the timeline that this had traveled. Now we know that these people were arrested somewhere in June 2019 when this issue came up. The trial itself began on June 8, 2021. Prosecution rested on July 12, 2022. And January 24, 2024, we've had judgment in this particular matter. Now, this is how the case has traveled. So let's look at the judgment that was given out, on Wednesday. For those who have been acquitted, we have Colonel Samuel Kojo Gameli, ACP Dr. Benjamin Agojo, and Colonel Seydou Abubakar. For those who have been sentenced to death by hanging, we have Donya Kafui, he's a blacksmith. We have Bright Deborah Ofosu, Johannes Zikpi, he's civilian at Ghana Armed Forces, Esther Zan Dekuwine. We have Lance Corporal Ali Solomon and Corporal Sylvester Akampenwan. So these are the 6 people who have been sentenced to death by hanging. I'm sure you follow the issue with us all throughout and have broken the issue out for you. Now, my colleague Richard Kwajo Nyako has been in court the whole day for us, and he joins me in studio with more on this. Kwajo, how did the judge arrive at this particular judgment?
Well, so it was a marathon in court. The judgment itself was a 4-hour marathon. It started at 12:30 and we ended at 4:30. And so let me run by you the fact as put out by the prosecution. In fact, these people were accused to have belonged to an association called Take Action and had planned to stage a series of demonstrations across the country, ostensibly to topple the government. In fact, in July 2019, the accused contacted a blacksmith from Alavanyo in the Volta region to manufacture 22 explosives, 6 ammunition, and 5 pistols. The court heard that the manufacturer charged the alleged accomplices 2,300, and the cost of each pistol also amounted to 400 Ghana cedis for each explosive. So on September 19, Dr. McPalm, who is now deceased, and Kafui were arrested after test firing at the Teshi military shooting range. The Attorney General contends that a search conducted on the premises of the Citadel Hospital revealed 6 unregistered pistols, 1 registered pistol, 22 explosives, 3 grenades, 63 rounds of ammunition, 2 empty AK-47 magazines, and other machines used in manufacturing the weapons. So Justice Efia Sewa Asariboche presided over the 3-member three-member panel that adjudicated this case, and they came to the conclusion that these persons, the 6 of them, the prosecution has been able to prove its case, and so they have to be convicted to death by hanging. In fact, these were the words of the judge, that you are hereby sentenced to death by hanging by the neck, and you are to die, and where you will be buried would be upon the choosing or the orders of the president. And so these were very, very heavy words put out by the judge.
The judge. Were you looking at the faces of these people? I want to know the reaction they put up when they heard those words coming out of the judge.
So right from the courtroom, when these pronouncements were made, they were mixed reactions, a cocktail of emotions that, were over the court. Three of them, they were very excited because some of them, I think by divine, they knew that they would be acquitted and discharged today. So they wore white. They already had powder. And so they sprinkled the powder after the court on them. But the five of them, in fact, they were down. You could see it written boldly on their faces. In fact, when they marked them from the top, the second floor of the court complex building, right to a waiting van. In fact, in the van, you could see people putting their hands on their head. That indicates how heavy it was. That, imagine or picture that you've been told that you are to be hanged by the neck, and then you would die through that pain until the president decides that this is where you'll be buried. And so that was really the demeanor in court.
Okay. Have the lawyers been speaking?
Well, the lawyers have been speaking, of course. So you know that lawyer Martin Pebu was one of the lawyers, and then there was another lawyer who's one of the
Adaudu, you mean Victor
Adaudu, who represented one person, but one of his clients was acquitted and discharged.
Okay.
The other was also sentenced to death by hanging, and so he's indicating that they would appeal the case at the Court of Appeal.
We can now watch the two lawyers.
And you see that from day one, Agojo had always made it clear that, listen, he was just giving advice about how to get citizens active, the TAG group as an NGO to get active. And there was going to be a demonstration. Then he said, look, pass through the legal means. Because he said, look, conditions are ripe in Ghana for another spring. And you see, since the time he spoke, it's gotten worse. That was before COVID hit. And you are aware that when COVID hit, about 850,000 more of our fellow Ghanaians were pushed down into below the poverty line. So now more people are hungry, more people are out of jobs. You see, unemployment is gone through the roof. So these are the things he's talking about. Lack of food, unemployment, etc., the suffering of the masses. That's all that he said. So he said, look, if you are going to demonstrate on such matters, pass through the legal channels. That's all that he said. And yet the state wove a very frivolous case, frivolous to the highest degree, around his neck. And today you see the court has exonerated him. We'll sue the state for compensation. Because this case has always been frivolous against him from day one. We look at malicious prosecution and all the other causes of action, because this case against Dr. Agojo has always been frivolous to the highest degree from day one. And the Attorney General knows it.
I think I've spoken to them. I think one of my clients has been acquitted and discharged. I believe that the evidence we have put before this court, they hadn't critically looked at some of the cross-examination and evidence, some of the loopholes. And I think that it's a process. We would definitely be going to the Supreme Court for it to also look at the evidence. We believe that some of the charges, you saw the soldiers, it was conspiracy, but they've been acquitted on the substantive charge. So these are things that we would test. We will go to the Supreme Court and see. But I believe that looking at what we have put before this court, we have done it, and we will go to the Court of Appeal. Today is really a sad day because, yes, because it's a sad day. If you even look, they don't even have an inventory when they arrested the people.
And so that's Kojogan Victor Adaudu and Martin Pebu. But the Attorney General is the one who led the state's prosecution,
yes,
right?
Freddie Abuadami was in court and he's been speaking. He says that he noticed some defects in their case. Otherwise, ACP Dr. Agojo would have also been convicted.
The proceedings as we noticed were quite irregular in the sense that High Court proposed of fair justice considered by the justice of the High Court, and that's in accordance with Article 19 of the Constitution. And it was a trial that was painstakingly conducted by the prosecution. The trial, if you remember, started actually on a Saturday. It was started on 24th April 2021, a Saturday. because the seriousness of the occasion, the Chief Justice was compelled to put together a court on that day, and I came to open the trial. And so we must commend the High Court for painstakingly conducting this trial, and actually I appreciated the meticulous examination of the evidence. It was a judgment that lasted over 3 hours, and one that I think clearly will find its way into the records of law as far as Ghana is concerned. And again, I would reiterate that initially people thought that the whole thing was child's play and were actually trying to even mock the attempt. But you saw the evidence that was laid at the trial. Copious evidence showing systematic attempt by people to organize the overthrow of the government of Ghana. It started from not only meetings, but of course a concerted effort to put together arms and ammunition, and they actually prepared arms and ammunition to that effect. It was a trial that we put on trial about 10 persons, 5 of them being military officers, a colonel even involved, and other military officers of various ranks, as well as a police officer, as well as one civilian who is part of the Ghana Armed Forces, works in the Ghana, a civilian employee in the Ghana Armed Forces. So really the effort was quite systematic, it was very deliberate, and the prosecution was able to establish clearly all the concerted efforts of the various persons, 6 of them who were convicted. And I believe, of course, the first accused would also have been convicted, Dr. McPalm, because he was actually the grand architect of the whole scheme. But for his untimely demise, clearly, I'm sure he would also have been convicted, and therefore 7 of them would have been convicted. But today, we had 6 out of the 9 people convicted. And for me, it sends a strong signal to the nation that any attempt at all to destabilize the nation, any attempt to organize the overthrow of the constitution will not be countenanced and will be taken quite seriously.
Well, ACP Agojo obviously has been speaking, right?
So like a bird out of the fowler's snare, he was very, very excited.
Jehovah is your name, mighty warrior, strong in battle. Jehovah is your name. It is joy. We give glory to God. He alone has made it. You heard the judgment, and you saw all the rebuttals. I don't need to talk again. They knew it was falsehood, but they continued to perpetuate it and push it hard. It didn't work.
You push for.
God doesn't fail. Now you want to ask what action next? Don't worry. I'll talk to my lawyers, and then we will talk to the media at the appropriate time. So thank you very much.
How does it feel to be free after 5 years?
Well, I've always been free within my heart. I've always been free because I knew how it was going to end. From the beginning, I knew that is how it's going to end today. I didn't know when it was going to end, but I knew how it was going to end. It's like watching a movie, a replay with somebody. You know the end, but the person doesn't know. So you people didn't know the end. I knew the end.
What about family members?
Also, he was not alone. Like Liverpool people would say, you would never walk alone. And so the family members were there, expressed excitement.
He's been acquitted and discharged. How does it feel?
Very great. We knew from day one that this is how it was going to end. Only that we don't know the particular day that it will end. But we knew, because the state has no case to prove. Nothing to prove. You heard the judges today. There was nothing to prove. So we are glad, and we give all the praise to God.
Right. I mean, in the family, were there a bit of some scare that possibly he could have, this verdict could have gone other way?
We knew our brother. He wasn't only a brother. He is a friend, a father, and everything to us. We knew him, and we know him. We continue to know him. And we knew that the family has no doubt about his involvement. The family knew that he wasn't part of it and that it was a frame-up. The family is very great, very good, grateful to God, and we look forward to the future after talking to our lawyer and the necessary steps we'll take.
Are you going to have any party? I mean, any victory party?
We'll communicate that to you, if there will be.
All right, thank you. That's on the lighter note.
Now, the National Labour Commission is directing members of the Senior Staff Association and Teachers and Educational Workers Union TEWU to call off their strike with immediate effect. The unions are demanding payment of Tier 2 pension contribution arrears and restoration of 50% overtime allowances. Speaking with JoyNews, Executive Secretary of the NLC, Ofosu Asamoah, said government has agreed to restore overtime allowances and negotiate cumulative interest on arrears on Tier 2 pensions.
They have been given 1 month to come back. They are going to do further negotiation, consultation with their employers and report after 1 month.
Do you think that both parties had some form of satisfaction from how events were mediated?
That is so. That is why they have agreed to go and do further consultation and come back. If any of them were dissatisfied or were suspicious of the process, they would have insisted that the commission goes ahead to hear the matter without any further negotiation.
But the Senior Staff Association say they are unsatisfied with the outcome of the meeting. Isaac Donko is national chairman of the Senior Staff Association of Universities of Ghana.
They are requesting that they should meet government on the 1st of February because government has invited us for a meeting engagement on the way forward in relation to the Tier 2. For the overtime, GTEC has written a letter to withdraw or suspend their earlier communique. That is it on the overtime. So they are also pleading that we should call off the strike for the time being while to engage the Ministry of Finance. That is the outcome.
Are you satisfied with this outcome?
Oh, no. We went in to get our demands met. There's no solution to this. Meeting them doesn't guarantee that they are going to pay. So we want to see positive results.
So in essence, the meeting with NLC did not meet your expectation as you had envisaged?
Not really. But we going there, you knew that would be the outcome. NLC will always compel you to suspend your strike. NLC will always do that. So that was expected anyway.
Will you be suspending your strike anytime soon?
It depends. I am the mouthpiece, I am the national chairman, but I'm not the final decision maker. So I will inform NEC, and NEC will take it up from there, directly from NLC. Officially, it's not been said when we get it, and we give it to our lawyers, and members will decide.
But even before the two unions will call off their industrial action, the university administrators have also declared an intention to, strike. General Secretary of Association Richard Afriye says they are demanding the immediate suspension and cessation of implementation of the GTEC-led decisions on office holding allowances.
That we are demanding immediate suspension, the major one, chief among them, which currently is the current issue ongoing, is the suspension of the administration of payments of some allowances to some categories of office holders who are government. We are asking government to immediately put a stop to the implementation of that GTEC-led decision of not paying or honoring that allowances to our members. We've asked that they stop it. That means they should continue paying and even refund those that they stopped last month, for the ones that they deducted or failed to pay last. We are also demanding that we have an agreed schedule of stakeholder engagement meetings towards addressing all the concerns listed. And then we also ask that GTEC, being the regulator of the tertiary institution, to be circumspect and fair in this dealing with related administrators, so that with respect to staff development and career progression, because we realize that it appears that when it comes to issues that pertain to staff development and career progression of administrators, this doesn't seem to show so much commitment or doesn't seem to lend so much support to administrative staff. And this is one of the demands. And also asking government to find solutions to all the issues raised in order to forestall the social academic calendar. These are our demands, and we are hoping that they will react quickly, promptly, find solutions to address all these issues before things escalate.
A ranking member on the Education Committee of Parliament is asking government to immediately address the concerns of the striking unions in universities to avoid further disruptions in the academic calendar. Now, yesterday, the Teachers and Educational Workers Union, TEWU, whose members have laid down their tools, threatened to shut down lecture halls and prevent students of the University of Ghana to write their exams if their concerns are not addressed. Now, let's take you to the University of Cape Coast to find out how the strike is impacting on students there as well. Louise Bequin is joining us now. Grateful for you for joining us here. Now, how is the university, or how has been the impact of the strike on the campus of UCC?
Great. Good evening to our listeners, and of course to our viewers. When it comes to the University of Cape Coast at the moment, essential services like the university health services, particularly, have been suspended until further notice. And with this, students have been advised to report minor cases to their infirmaries at the various halls of residence. And in case of any issue, they've also been advised to report the case to the student clinic, which is also situated right here on UCC campus. And so for now, with essential services like the health, this is what we are experiencing at the moment. And the medical examination, which annually is organized for freshers, has also been suspended. Now, when you go to the library of the university, that is the main library, we have some members of the Senior Staff Association also there. Unlike the usual closing time of 10 p.m., now because of shortage of staff members, they close at 4:30 p.m. They operate from 9 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. With regard to a bit on the TEU, when you go to the various halls, they have been helping with sanitation issues in the various halls. Now, because of the strike action, students at the various halls are now taking that duty. They have been doing the cleaning, and we also have hall assistants who takes care of keys and all that. Students, that is the JCRC, are now taking that job on them to do it. So currently, that is what is happening on the UCC campus.
All right, Louis, I'm grateful for joining us. So that's how the situation is on the University of Cape Coast campus. Away from that, as campaigning hits a home stretch for contestants in the weekend NPP Ordinary Congress to elect parliamentary candidates in 105 constituencies across the country, concerns arrive about the amounts of monies being pumped into finding the favor of delegates. We know that these 105 seats are potential safe seats for the party. Therefore, whoever is elected stands a good chance of joining the 9th Parliament in 2025. So the stakes are pretty high. Now, the promises range from plots of land to television sets, cloth, and cold hard cash, among others. Now, some aspirants have been sharing their stories on PM Express.
I want people to vote for me because they know what Claudia is capable of. They know that I can help NPP in Oforikrom to grow our vote from 62,000 to 80,000, because we have over 100,000 people, Oforikrom alone, that vote have registered and can vote. But last election, we got 62,000. That means in Oforikrom, we have almost 40,000 people that did not even bother to go and queue to vote.
Have you found this process? Have you found this process too expensive?
Absolutely. Very expensive. I think I should have mentioned that as one of my biggest shock, but also it could be that my constituency is really big, and it could be that because I have almost 1,200 delegates. So working within a constituency like that, it's, you need a lot of resources to do that. And it's not easy. It's been hard. It's been tough. It's really draining of time and resources.
Has the vice president backed you in this race?
No, the vice president wouldn't do that for any reason. That's no way he would do that. He wouldn't do that. He knows I'm into the contest. He knows I'm contesting just as any other person that I had to inform and talk to is aware. But I'm doing my campaign on my own. I'm running a very decent campaign. I'm running a very frugal campaign. And so I don't think I have been lacking to depend on resources from government or my office.
Has the vice president given you resources? Has he supported with resources? Money?
I've not received any resources of that nature yet.
I have his blessings to contest. I informed him, he wished me well, obviously prayed for me, and indeed encouraged me to contest. And at the end of the day, even advised that my good works will speak for me. So yes, he's with me, he's supporting me, but in terms of coming to the grounds to campaign to people, that has not happened yet.
Started from this point. Is it the general elections that we talk about, inducement, or within the internal elections? I do not know if there are any laws pertaining to that. Because within the internal elections, we motivate our people because the party officers, we think about their welfare, they're not being paid. So if I am taking care of the welfare of a student, that person votes for me on a certain day. Are you going to call that bribery because he's been taking money over some time? You know what I mean? And then that person who says that I'm going to vote for you, I need my child is in the hospital and you pay for the fees. How are you going to translate that? So I think we need to look at the laws within that context. Then there's a clear demarcation of bribery in voting and actually helping people within that.
Now, ahead of the NPP Parliamentary Primaries on Saturday, delegates are already inundated with material inducement from aspirants for their vote. But the NPP says it strongly frowns on vote buying. The Deputy General Secretary of the party, Haruna Mohammed, says the party is ready to prosecute any allegation of vote buying, provided there is glaring evidence. The party will go to the polls on Saturday to fill some 105 constituencies with parliamentary candidate. Haruna Mohammed joins us via Zoom for update on this and other developments. So it appears vote inducement is still taking center stage in the upcoming primaries. How is the party positioned to deal with this situation?
Thank you very much. I will take this opportunity to say good evening to your cherished viewership. Having listened to your show and the persons that have spoken, I have not heard any shred of evidence that portray to the fact that there is some vote buying. Indeed, I've heard about using resources to run around and how expensive it is. Definitely, if you are running in a constituency that is far apart, you definitely need a vehicle, you need fuel, you need to be able to resource yourself.
But you heard the people mention. I mean, one of them said, I have a constituency of about 1,200 delegates. I mean, why would she mention that number if the delegates are not demanding something?
No, but there is no evidence. When she mentioned 1,200, doesn't mean that she said she's giving them money worth of 1,200. She just mentioned the huge numbers. Come to where Ajwa
no, but I mean, the same person I referred to, speaking on PM Express just on Tuesday here on this channel, said she spent over 1.2 million within a year on this exercise alone. I mean, isn't it something that the party should be worried about?
That is not verifiable. People will sit down and tell you what they have spent. You have to put them to strict proof as to how this money is being expended. Remember, this constituency is talking about is town. It is inside town. If the person is telling you he has spent 1.2 million Ghana cedis, you have to put it to strict proof to be able to justify what at all has that money been used for. So people can sit down and say whatever amount that has been spent, but these are not verifiable facts.
But Haruna, are you expecting her to sit on national television to then say that I have paid so and so money to so and so persons? Obviously, you'd have to get it from what the conversation that she's having to tell. She won't come out point blankly on this.
I cannot also just assume that because it says it's 1.2 million she has spent, I should rely on it to say that this is actually used for vote buying. I can't also do that because there is what we call verifiability. Okay. If something is being done or something is being said, it is left with myself and you to be able to verify. Just as I used to say, as a media person, when you are just as you are in the studio, they tell you that it is raining heavily outside. It is not your duty to amplify that it is raining. It's your duty to open the window and check.
Now, it's good you brought this up, but you know that in your often constituency elections, just in where this Jefferson Saki, you know, where he ran, there were glaring videos that we played here where people said, I've received, and some came with photographs of the people on envelopes with started with cash. I mean, OSP is even investigating some people. So and on that, if the party is serious about checking all of these vote buying, what have you done about that?
In the same studio you are, I sat in the studio and I said that we are just seeing videos. We are seeing people saying that they have received money from so and so, and we cannot verify whether those monies that were given to them was by those persons because they were holding money. As to whether they gave it to them, they were holding envelopes with money. Well, as to whether those people enveloped those monies, we can't verify that. And also, what was the reasons of which these monies were given to them? I sat in your studio and said that I cannot verify that. But the party frowns on vote buying. And our laws in this country.
It's interesting that a party that frowns on vote buying, after all this period, after that election, I mean, you've not been able to verify those claims. But that's fine. It's 3 days to the polls, and how's the party preparing for the big day?
Yes, the party is well prepared for 27th of January. We have 104 electoral areas, that is constituencies that will be conducting elections, 33 of which is unopposed. 7 of those particular areas, or 8 or so, were done over this particular weekend, and the rest will also be added to the 104 that we have. We have made sure that every ballot paper that is needed in this particular election was handed over to the Ghana Police and the Electoral Commission at 12 noon today. These registers has also been handed over to the Electoral Commission, detailing and then distribution of ballots, and then albums will be done tomorrow by the Electoral Commission through the police. Various centers have been identified. The police has taken center stage in terms of the security of the ballot. The Electoral Commission has made adequate measures to be
grateful. Thank you very much. Haruna Mohammed is Deputy General Secretary of the governing NPP. This is still JoyNews Prime. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with more to stay. Welcome back from the break. Now, District Chief Executive for Ekuapem South, Frank Edu, is requesting the New Patriotic Party to reinstate him into the party's parliamentary primary scheduled for Saturday, January 24. In a petition addressed to the regional chairman of the NPP and dated January 23, 2024, Frank Edu argued that a vetting committee disqualified him from the race because his MP, Osebunsu Ama, was seeking re-election. He, however, wanted the party to allow him to join the contest in the spirit of fairness and equity because the person for whose sake he was disqualified has withdrawn from the race. Now, flag bearer of the NDC, John Mahama, has jabbed President Akufo-Addo over recent comments that sought to call the bluff of his critics. The president is said to have challenged some groupings to vote against the NPP if they feel the government has failed to meet their demand. Mr. Mahama said the president's response to the youth of Kwabre East over poor road connectivity is enough reason for them to give the NDC a try. Nana Ajima joined the NDC's 24-hour economy sensitization walk in Ashanti region and filed the following report.
The walk ended at the Jubilee Park in Kumasi. Here, all 3 candidates of the 2023 NDC presidential primary mounted the platform with John Mahama. The flag bearer took advantage of the opportunity to preach unity among supporters of the NDC.
I mounted the stage with my brother Kwabena Dufo on my right and Kojo Bonso on my left. We all lifted our hands to show we are one people. But after the regional and parliamentary election, the reconciliation team is yet to mend the broken relationships. Some disgruntled people continue to give conditions, but I want them to know that the NDC train is set to move. If you don't join, you will be left behind.
And I'm going so one day time I'm before
John Mahama further expressed disappointment towards the president's recent statements against some electorates threatening to vote against the NPP.
President Umbo.
In recent times, the president has been making some pronouncements. A traditional leader in the Volta region was asked to go and complete a school block if he has the funding after demanding completion of a long-abandoned structure. Recently, he called a bluff electorate at Kwabre East, who voted the president into power after demanding good roads. He told the people of Volta region after the floods that he was there because he is a president. He said they don't vote for him. Same happened to the people of Ekumfi.
Meanwhile, the NDC flag bearer has pledged towards ensuring peaceful elections. He spoke at the annual regional council meeting of the Assemblies of God Church in Ashanti West region.
Always in election years, there is nervousness that there will be crisis, there will be fighting, and there will be chaos. I just want to use this platform to assure the country that if there's going to be chaos, it's not going to come from me or the party that I lead.
Leader of Ebenezer Miracle Worship Center, Ebenezer Adakwa Yadom, has cautioned the NDC leadership to exercise caution in the upcoming election.
Nobody should receive bribe and renege on their duties on election day. Do not receive food from any person that will make you sleep on the day. Be vigilant.
Meanwhile, many are impressed at the reception received so far by the NDC.
Now, as campaigning heat for the NPP Parliamentary Primaries, which is coming off this Saturday, in the Ashanti region, political scientist Dr. Amache Boateng has admonished the delegate to critically scrutinize candidates. The Bantama, Inshaeso, and Tafo Pankrono are among constituencies blazing for the toughest contest on Saturday. Nana Boache Yadom has a spotlight on these constituencies where incumbent MPs are expected to face firm opposition.
In the Ashanti region, Bantama, Inshaeso, and Tafo Pankrono are some key constituencies where incumbent MPs are expected to face tough competition in the NPP Parliamentary Primaries. The Bantama constituency has witnessed intensive internal contests where incumbent MPs lose after their first term in Parliament. Incumbent Francis Asansubwache, who has been in Parliament for one term, is however optimistic of victory.
The fiercest competition, I believe, was between myself and Honorable Kokofu. That was the fiercest as far as I'm concerned. This one for me is not it's a no match. When you go to the constituency, those who are voting, they see a big difference. Yes. Like a difference between a VIP bus and Pragia. That is the difference. It's a no match. I don't see this as a competition at all. Because it will take a nation record to choose my opponent over me, given the unprecedented levels of development I've brought in Bantama against an opponent who has no record of active service to the party and to the competition. It will never happen in Bantama.
Raphael Lijapon is the unwavering opponent of Francis Asansubwache, eyeing to unseat him from Parliament.
He's an MP who can't even socialize with people. He's perceived to be arrogant, but now I agree with them because he talks as if he's, the chief of the world, calling himself a VIP, and then me Aboboya, and then I'm visionless. Hey, excuse me.
Confident of his victory, Raphael shared his vision for the constituency.
Whatever I'm saying is genuine. I will not come to you, talk to you, and then just for the sake of asking you for your vote. I have a genuine heart for Bantama constituency, and I've been doing this over time. That's why you made mention of the fact that I have gained popularity over a short period. No, I have been in this constituency, God knows when, the time I was born. And they know me, I interact with them. Anytime I'm out of Accra and I'm in Kumasi, I'm with Bantama people. They know what I've done for people who are seeking to get school fees to pay their tuition, medical fees, medical money for medicine and all that. A lot of them. Within the party, we've done series of legal works for the party. So the records are there for everybody to interact.
Political scientist Dr. Amache Boateng says the Bantama constituency has become a hotspot for years. He believes the incumbent MP can possibly retain his seat.
It's not necessarily a case of a support for a one-term member of parliament in Bantama. No. But the place has become like Congo DR, a battleground because of the size of the constituency. Asansubwache has definitely done what he has to do. One would have expected that maybe Ochaman Boaji might have come back if he were to be with us and possibly throw in, not necessarily throw in, I mean, offer him a challenge. That would have been something of a challenge.
Well, there's more of this story in our subsequent bulletins here on JoyNews. We'll take a quick break. We'll be back with showbiz. We'll stay.